fucked up everything.
So you've got fake quotes from the Talmud.
They're not fake.
You're walking around with...
Check them out.
I think we need to get the context of the Hebrew.
I thought you were going to check them out.
So not a Christian, so that's just anti-Semitism.
So we'll do a few tests first. So
Well, the Semites are the Arabs, then 97% of the Israeli DNA doesn't come from the Middle East.
No, because
So that's
why are you so obsessed with Jews?
I'm not obsessed with Jews. I'm obsessed with doing the right with.
Yeah, he's obsessed with the truth.
Yeah,
Are you
the
an
truth.
ethno-nationalist?
Huh?
Are you an ethno-nationalist?
An anti-nationalist.
An ethno-nationalist?
Ain't just Jews, just Christians.
You're not a Christian and you're not an ethno-nationalist. You're just basically anti-Semitic.
So excuse me.
Well, that's your
excuse me,
words,
what
you're
does that mean they all work for
No,
Rothschild?
not. I believe in protecting the Jewish people until the end
The
by
Jewish
force.
people aren't Semitic. Their DNA
I didn't say
doesn't come from.
Semitic, I said the Jewish people.
It is pretty good.
They don't come from the Middle East.
No, but I didn't say that. I said the Jewish people. We should defend them until the end days, using force.
A grown man
here
having
we-
intercourse with a little girl is nothing. Having intercourse with a girl less than 3 years old is like putting a finger in the eye.
Great question. What's your name?
John.
John. Oh, okay.
John, what does that mean they all work for Rothschild? What does that
It means
who's
that
they?
all the politicians.
Sorry?
All the politicians.
All the politicians work for Rothschild? I don't understand, sorry.
Well, the Rothschilds have owned the money system for the last 200, 300 years in this country.
How do you know that?
Because when they came to this country, they took over the Bank of England in 1815 on fraud.
What's the evidence of that, other than you saying it?
Well, look it up.
No, I'm asking you what's your evidence?
Why do you believe
It's
that?
well known. It's even in the, I think it's in the Jewish encyclopedia.
Really?
That's not how banking
Okay,
works.
so we've got a few
I
things.
don't know what you're talking about, mate. The banking system doesn't work that way. I've worked in banking, and I'm not Jewish.
Poor guy.
It doesn't work like that. You've got this conspiracy theory that the Jews are running the
I didn't say
financial
that.
system. Yeah, but
say
the
that.
Rothschilds are
what
running
is
the
it you
financial
believe in?
system, and they're
Sorry, I
not.
don't really
Well, I
understand.
believe in doing the right thing and stop killing Palestinians like they're killing Palestinians today in Palestine.
Okay.
Well, why is that a bad thing? Why is that a bad thing?
Is it the Jews or the Rothschilds that are killing the Palestinians?
Well, the Rothschilds own Israel.
The Rothschilds
It
are...
was given to them.
Good lord.
The Balfour
How
Agreement.
can someone own a country? I don't understand. Sorry.
Because
But they bought it. They got it through fraud. They said that we will get it. They said we will get the Palestine. We want it to be given to us. Lord Balfour signed a declaration to give Palestine to the Rothschilds.
Under UN
He
mandate.
wrote it to
Rothschilds.
So
Nathaniel
are you saying Lord
Rothschild.
Balfour gave Israel
Yeah,
to...
there's a letter, the
But
Balfour
wasn't it-
Declaration.
Wasn't it you voted on the
Balfour, the
United
Balfour
Nations?
the United
Declaration
Nations
doesn't give it to the
sanctioned that,
Rothschilds.
right?
It did. It says we're giving it to. Well, look it up.
I know the Balfour.
We all know the Balfour Declaration,
Well, you
mate.
obviously you don't because you're disputing it.
It doesn't
No, you
even,
don't,
it doesn't even
but you're a
mention the
liar.
word.
You're a liar.
It doesn't even mention
You
the word
put words in
Rothschild.
people's mouths and try to misrepresent them.
So what you're
So I don't trust you. I don't like you.
I don't think the Balfour
I'm just
Declaration
trying to
even
understand
mentions
what
the
you're-
word.
I want to understand the source
I
of
know
the
it
Jewish
was
hatred.
too...
I mean,
I want to
it's
understand
two.
the source of the hatred.
What, your hatred?
No, yours for the Jews.
I don't have
Okay.
any hatred.
Fair enough.
I've told you
You've
already
come
I
in with
don't hate
lots of
anyone.
words printed about Jewish people.
Because this is against the law. This is against English common law.
What is against English common law?
Paedophilia.
But the Jewish people, what do the Jewish people got to do
You
with
need a better
pedophilia?
printer, mate.
Then why is this a secret?
So is
Because
that,
these are fake
What's
quotes.
secret?
wait,
Then
wait,
why
is,
do
that
you-
from is that from the Bible? Sorry, I'm
No,
just
no,
trying
it's
these
on
are
the
fake.
Talmud.
No, that from
That's on the Talmud too, the Holy Talmud too.
Yeah, but which
which page or something? Or which,
Well, that's
which,
the-
Kedwood 11b.
Ketubot 11b.
Ketubot, okay, so we can go there as
So
well.
you do know it.
No, Ketubot is it's a tractate of the Talmud, and what happens is racists, neo-Nazis, make up quotes and disseminate and spread them across the internet, and people like you who unfortunately can't read Aramaic or Hebrew, then read these and believe them. Similarly, like you said that goyim means cattle, anybody can check this. Goy means nation, and goyim means nations, and the Jews are called a goy in the Hebrew text of the Old Testament. So just because neo-Nazis have told you something and you're very
No, not
gullible,
Nazis, just
truth seekers, researchers, yeah, truth seekers. So what I'm saying, maybe just some friendly advice. Maybe instead of going on these radical websites, you go on these
They're not
radical
radical.
websites, but you
Not
seek
radical,
you seek
no.
out someone,
Don't put your hands in my
you
face.
seek out somebody who can speak the language, and you ask them.
Yeah.
Because goy doesn't mean cattle.
Well, look up Sick Evil Talmud on YouTube and you can see the rabbis saying...
Evil Talmud.
Well, that's sick. That's sick. That's against the law.
So all-
it's against English common law.
Josh,
All
simple
Jews
question.
are against paedophilia,
But how
by the
many
way.
Jewish people have been
All
conducting
Jews are
paedophilia
against
here?
Have you met every Jew?
Okay, I haven't met every single Jew.
Do you believe Jews?
But
Trevor Yana, paedophile. Leon Britton, paedophile. Clement Freud, paedophile.
And I'm not questioning that there have
Well,
been
there's
Jews,
three,
just
they
like there
were.
were Christians,
They were
just
killing
like there were
children
Muslims.
too.
But
Who were they killing?
Leo
Who were those
Leo
people?
Presley used to be Foreign Secretary. He used to be but in the European Parliament. He was never convicted.
Because they faked his death.
Is that the Rothschilds?
Yeah. He had cancer. They said, oh, he's got cancer and he died.
Who was the they that?
But the harder
So
question,
who are the other
Well,
people
the
you say were
mainstream,
paedophiles?
well, the
Who were
government,
other
the
ones you said?
MI5, Mossad.
but the harder question is why are you
Why
so
would the
obsessed with
Mossad-
Jewish
Well,
people?
Victor
Why would-
Rothschild created
Why would the Mossad?
MI5
Why would the Mossad fake his death?
because it's part of a ring.
Well, who's this ring?
Well, Jimmy Savile was child trafficking for Israel.
So is your
So
primary-
Jimmy
is your
Savile
primary
was an
concern
agent
paedophilia?
of Israel or the Rothschilds?
He was made. He gave speeches in the Israeli parliament. He was given medals for services to Israel.
He was also given medals by the Queen. Is she part of this?
Yeah, she's a Rothschild.
The Queen's a Rothschild. So who was? So she descends from Mayor Amschel, yeah?
Yeah.
So
Nathaniel
Nathaniel
Rothschild.
So Nathaniel's her what? Her father?
No, great grandfather.
Her great grandfather. And
Because when the Rothschilds took over the Bank of England in 1815 through fraud, it got them royal breeding rights. That's why Victoria's children, all 8 of them were sired by Nathaniel Rothschild. That's why the Queen looks like Nathaniel Rothschild.
So you say the Rothschilds own the Bank of England or run it?
They took over the Bank of England in 1815.
And now who runs it now?
Well, they do from behind.
Behind
but
what?
wasn't it nationalised?
Do you know
Well,
how the-
they
mean
would say, but
secretly?
that's
You mean
right.
they-
So,
you mean
with
they're
deepest
running it
respect,
secretly?
do you know how the Bank of England works? Do you know what the
Well,
Bank
what
of
do you
England?
mean by that?
Do you know what the Bank of England does?
Well, it prints fake money. There's no
No,
gold
that's the
backing it
Royal
up.
Mint.
No, that's not.
Yeah,
what
and it's all the same
but what is
thing.
the
It's all the
function of
same.
Bank
Yeah,
of
they
England?
work for the Bank of England.
But what is the Bank of
Well, they're not
England?
independent, are they? They're not independent.
Royal Mint. No, they work for the government.
Yeah,
Treasury.
who were owned by them.
Oh, but not the Royal. But the Bank of England's
Well,
independent. But the Bank of England. So what do you think the Bank of England does?
Yeah. What do you
Well,
think
it
they
creates
did?
an illusion that we're paying money and debt, and we all have to
No,
pay
what is the
mortgages,
primary
but
function of the
they
Bank
can
of
print
England?
off tens of billions of pounds
Again,
with no
that's the
gold
treasury.
behind
What is
it.
that all the
Treasury.
Bank of England
Yeah,
does?
who work for the Bank of England.
But that's not what
No,
it
they
does.
don't.
That's not what the Bank of England does. Do you know what the Bank of England's first role is? It sets interest rates. That's what it does. It meets
Yeah, but it's all
encourages
fake. But it's all
set
fake.
savings
It's all
of
fake.
spending.
to
It's all fake.
stabilise
Yeah,
the
but it's all
economy.
fake.
No, it isn't. It's a
It's
public,
fake.
open committee.
But there's no
It
gold
is a-
backing it up. They can print off billions
But
of
that's a
pounds
different
with just
argument. That's the
paper.
argument
No,
of fiat
it's
currency. That's the argument of fiat
No,
currency.
but it's all fiat
But the
currency.
Bank of
It's
England
all
is
fiat-
open, publicly audited committee work. It is publicly audited committee work. You can go home and you can open and read the entire committee
Mate, but who
proceedings.
controls the auditors, bro?
Oh, who's
Well, of
they
course.
probably
Well, they pay
control.
the wages.
They
They
control
probably
the
control.
Yeah.
That's what the Bank of England does.
Well, maybe you've been brainwashed, you know.
I've worked in banking.
Yeah, and they brainwashed
They
me. Yeah.
brainwashed me, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Because yeah.
So he's brainwashed. I'm Mossad. Who's he?
Well, someone making
MI5.
petty comments about people's eyebrows.
Well, that was probably
That shows you the
You've
level
drawn
of your
attention to them
debate.
there again. I've forgotten about the eyebrows. Now I
But
can't
now
look
that you
anywhere
pick it
else.
up. But my deeper question, with deepest respect, is why are you so concerned about the Jewish people? You're here with a lot
Because
of
if they're
signs
guilty of
against
this,
Jewish
they're
people.
breaking English common law.
But what law are they
So what should we do to them?
There's a big if though.
Try them in English common law courts.
And then what should we do with them? Should
If
we
they're
kick them
found
out?
guilty, no, put them in prison.
Put them in prison? All of the Jews?
Lock up the Jews, right?
Did I say that?
No, I said what should we do with the Jewish people, and you said put them in prison.
I'm talking about these people. I'm not talking about the Jewish people.
Just the Rothschilds.
Anti-Semitic. He's anti-Semitic. That's what you're doing. He just caught you. He just caught you. You're saying, what do you want to do with these Jews? You're saying,
Oh, he's been doing that for the last half hour, trying to put words in my mouth.
So he's not anti-Semitic?
no, he's got an idea that you believe that the Rothschilds for you.
Not just the Rothschild, he's quoting the Talmud and saying that Jews rape,
Did you get that
Jews rape
reference?
children,
I know,
and
you
you're
didn't get the
defending
reference,
him.
yeah?
No, he's accusing Jewish people as a collective of paedophilia.
in Israel.
You know that's your words, not mine. That's what you think. That's what you
Not
think.
stepping into the field. These
And
are
why are you trying to put it on me? I
Because
didn't
I'm
say
trying to
that.
genuinely understand what the source of the Jewish
You haven't got a clue
Because they're breaking English common law.
So
That's true,
you're
they're
real
breaking
concerned
English
with
common law.
paedophilia?
Then why wasn't Greville Yanner ever caught?
me,
Why
for
wasn't
me,
Leon
he's more
Brooke ever
dangerous,
caught?
yeah.
Why wasn't Clement Ford
As a
ever
Jew,
caught?
to you he's not.
So your primary concern is paedophilia, not the Jewish people. It's paedophilia? Is that why you're
Well,
defending
anyone
root cause?
picking on vulnerable people is against the law. It's against.
So I think we all agree with that. Everyone agrees with that
Well,
here. No one here is for paedophilia.
No.
Well, this, I mean,
That's not real.
That's
That's
you
not
make that
real.
up?
You haven't
Yeah,
checked
well,
it out
it's
yet.
2.11
Well, that's,
B,
you know,
2.11 B.
You keep saying you're going to reference it, but you don't.
Do you know how many Jews there are in the UK?
Well, they're about 0.4% of the population. So out of 60 million, that's about, I don't know, 500,000. I'm trying to work out.
Do you know how many Jewish people there are in the world?
They don't own the world.
No, in the
No
world
one
generally.
owns the world. I'm
No,
talking
no,
about
how
the
many, how
financial
many Jewish
system.
people there are in the world?
I think it's 15 million.
Okay, so
You're
I'm
right,
guessing,
right,
yeah.
you're right.
So the 15 million that we think are running stuff, yeah, I want to join that clan.
So wait, man, how do you
Suddenly they got
convert?
their shit together.
Huh? But they don't believe me. And he's meant to be one of
So
them.
when you
that
sorry,
Richard
when you
himself
say
says he doesn't
excuse me,
believe me. He
when you
doesn't
say
believe this
they,
either.
when you say they, do you mean Jews or you said politicians earlier? But do you really mean the Jews?
No, it's your words, not mine.
No, I'm asking you.
No, I've just said they're politicians.
So does Jeremy Corbyn? Is Jeremy Corbyn work for
Yeah.
Rothschilds? Jeremy Corbyn works for
Jeremy Corbyn, the
Rothschilds.
suspected anti-Semite, works with
Yeah, that's it. They create an image. They create a hysteria. Of course, they own the
Is George
mainstream
Galloway
media.
in it as well?
Yeah.
They own the mainstream
they
media.
They create
The
mavericks.
media
They
as well,
create like
the
Donald
so-
Trump. He's
so-
meant to be a maverick.
do
He's
they
meant to be
all-
outside the system. And
So
they're
does-
serving the
Sorry,
system.
to some. Are you
Same
saying?
as Tommy Robinson. He's meant to be outside the system.
Can
And
I
really,
ask a
he's not.
question though? Like,
what about you? You're
is
meant to be
Israel
outside
and
the system.
Jews
Are
connected
you
with the
working for
banking
Rothschilds?
system?
Do you think Tommy
You know,
Robinson is
aren't
designing
like
his show?
individuals
This is my next question.
let's say that
Teeing
this
up this one.
Rothschild theory is true. Aren't the Rothschilds as individuals responsible for the claims that you've made, not the entirety of the Jewish community?
I didn't say the
or
whole
this
Jewish
mistranslated
community.
quote.
They say it. They say it. I didn't say that. They,
You
I didn't.
brought up a Jewish quote, which is mistranslated.
Well, yeah, well, no, it's
And then
not.
you start
How do you know
talking
it's
about
There's lots of
mistranslated?
anti.
Translate it.
actually-
it's not. It's, I can translate it. It's not correct.
Well, show me. Well, there's two references to it.
We translated this. We can read and translate, and it's not true.
What does it say?
What does it say?
We can translate it. We translate the word. You missed out the whole. There's no words. There's no words for it. Yeah, it says about a child. A small,
Who are you working for?
well, no, it's a
Mossad,
speak
It's a
Hebrew.
joke. It's a joke. It's a joke.
Here comes my Mossad
But
sister.
are you saying these aren't
Bring it,
true?
girls.
None of them are true.
Yeah, 100,000. It's not from.
Can you prove they're not true?
Yeah,
from
so
it.
which one's this one?
So that's not. That's never written in Sanhedrin. Never.
Wait,
Ever.
can you please
Well, I've got
translate
more.
this
I've
for
got more
me?
references than
Translate
this.
it.
There's more
Can you
people.
translate it? You can. God, it says something about a child, but does not say. This is.
But the thing that said the Holy Talmud promotes pedophilia tells me that I would be concerned about the message as a whole, first of all. No, but I don't believe the Talmud promotes pedophilia.
It says about a child. It's about a child. It's nothing got to do with anything about. It doesn't even say a man here. It says a child. There's no word for man. That means a
There's 100
child.
people who say different. I know 100 researchers and professors who write books. So you know.
Which professors?
Well, you don't know what that translates to.
Because that means a child.
You could just
Nothing.
Google the words.
That's it.
You could Google that exact thing, and then if it comes out the same, then it should be true.
Also, it's not. It's nowhere. This is nowhere and anywhere. It's not. It's not like a chapter. It's nothing.
So what? This is not true as well. I mean,
Most of these are made up. I'm just trying to take Sanhedrin 54b. So that's-
I'm just really confused to how you
This?
found yourself.
How is this even? How is
The
this
Jews
even?
into all that.
That's a good point. You need to step
Not
back.
all
Take
the
one
Jews.
step back.
well, usury comes from the Talmud.
Where did you find
says
it?
okay, usury is allowed in the Talmud,
So usury is
and that
allowed.
creates the banking system that
first of
these
all-
people run.
First,
You said the politicians. You said the
Isn't
politicians.
the
run
banking
Rothschild.
system?
so
that you've
just so you
accused
understand how the usury argument
That's just
works.
wrong, sir.
So within the Torah, it says that you're not allowed to loan money to your brother. Yeah. So the word for brother is ach. It's similar to Arabic, but it means so as if you're my brother and you come to me for a loan, I'm not allowed to charge you interest. However, if the stranger comes, because we don't have that familiar bond, we're not related, I don't know if I can trust you or not, therefore I can charge interest to protect my loan.
And
So that's all it means. And that
Which has become this.
No.
Joseph,
Yeah,
at
it
one
has.
point, notice it. Charging interest is the fuel of capitalistic growth. It has nothing to do with Judaism. It's
Well,
to do
who
with how-
created capitalism? Who runs the money
because,
supply?
because that's how you create wealth.
can I just say your
That's how you
54,
have
this
growth.
quote here where
It's
it
not a
says
Jewish
a
thing.
Jew
Jews are
has
not
sex
running
with a
the
child.
bank.
I'm Jewish and they're Jewish.
Actually smells of weed. I'm like, you hit me up.
Yes, yeah. Not to a Jewish person, but to non-Jewish people. Because you're not allowed to loan to your family without interest, because there's a trust within the
Jeremy
family.
Corbyn is Jewish.
So I can't charge interest.
Well, I don't know. I don't know. I mean,
Can we come on to this in a minute? Let me just
He's
finish this
covering
back
up
and
child abuse.
Yeah. Have you got many Jewish friends in real life?
Is this the first Jew you've ever met?
I'm sure
Any Jewish friends? Actual friends?
How long have you held your these views?
Any Jewish friends ever?
Yeah, I'll try,
I mean, Jewish friends, like your mates.
Yeah, but I mean, they've all
I'm not Jewish. I can tell you I have a lot of good Jewish friends. So I'm just wondering if you have, because that makes a big difference on how you read these messages, right? If I want to know something about Islam and ask a Muslim person.
Just when I found that Jimmy Savile was working for Mossad as a child trafficker.
For Mossad?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I know he worked for
I heard he worked for them,
He
BBC.
worked for Prince Charles. He's a big
Did he do this on the side of being a BBC route? Did he do this on the
I've
side of
been
being
through
a
the whole thing. I'm
BBC?
not seeing it so far. I've just accidentally
happened
clicked
to
That's
it.
the cover. That's the cover.
Where's your source of information for that?
An ex-MI5 officer called John Coleman, who wrote the book The Committee of 300, one of the first books exposing the New World Order. I can give you the link if you want.
Yeah, that'd be great.
well done. You tell them, mate. Give them the truth. These cunts don't want to know it.
Please.
Well, of course they don't.
Yeah,
know,
man,
because
yeah.
they're complicit.
Of course they are. You pay them they bankroll the country.
God, I wish I was.
I know, right? I wouldn't have such
I'm
a
doing
shit
this
job.
for free.
Yeah, there's not a lot for money.
You guys
There's not a lot
got
for
paid.
money.
My friend, I've literally just been through the entire draft for this, yeah? The entire page, and it doesn't say this anywhere. So what I'm going to tell you, for your benefit and for anyone's benefit, you can take each one of these verses, and I'll give you it straight back. It's got them all here. You can look up the source, which this one is Sanhedrin 54b, Sanhedrin 54b, Sanhedrin 57a. You can Google it and look it up yourself. Go to a Jewish source, not whatever website you've got these from, and you can read the text.
I've checked it in about 10 websites.
So,
They're all the same
have you
thing.
checked in the Talmud? Is what I'm saying. Not in what a website says. In the Talmud.
yeah, I've
The
read
Talmud
it.
is
Yeah, I've got a lot, yeah.
the Talmud is available online today.
In English.
In English, translated.
I
So
mean, do you know rabbis suck the baby's penis after circumcision?
I've heard it.
That's against the law. That's against English law. That's against
Again,
It's called child abuse. It's called child rape and child torture.
It's against Jewish law.
But rabbis do it. I've got the text rabbis saying why they do it. I've got rabbis saying it on YouTube. And I've seen rabbis
So
say it.
again, if you're interested in a genuine conversation, I can educate you as to what's going on there and how you've got confused.
Well, do they suck the baby's
No.
penis?
So I'm going to explain.
I've got pictures of them doing it.
So let me explain.
Well, I've got pictures of them doing
I
it.
wouldn't admit that you've got pictures
on your.
Well, I
got it on your
That's not
phone.
bad. No, I won't carry it around.
If you
But it's
listen,
all on YouTube.
so if you listen,
It's all on Google.
So, like everything, there's a kernel of truth. So, when they used to do Brit Milah, which is the circumcision ritual in Babylon, 2,000 years ago, they didn't have the medical advances today.
No.
Okay? No?
You're saying it's because of hygiene. It's done as rape.
listen.
It's done to traumatize.
Are you interested in listening? Are you interested in listening?
Well, I've heard this argument before, saying, "Oh, it's a hygiene thing." It's not. It's a trauma-based mind control.
So if you listen,
It creates a cult mentality.
if you listen, almost so it's as I said, it's based on the kernel of truth. There was a mistaken medical belief.
It's not a kernel. I've got a mountain of evidence. to
Okay,
show.
so I'm trying to look. I'm genuinely engaging with you. You're coming with these. I'm giving you the actual. So every single modern rabbi today says that what you're describing is absolutely against Judaism.
No,
yeah?
I've seen them doing it today. I've seen them doing
so
it.
what-
No, they still do it.
You've seen them physically doing it.
I'm seeing them doing it in modern pictures, modern.
And where do you get these photographs from, by the way?
Just Google Jewish circumcision. You can see
So-
them doing it.
So again, so if you listen,
Nasty bastard.
so
They've taken a lot of the images down, but you still.
who's taken a lot of what down?
Well, people who run Google.
But somehow you were able to see it
Yeah, and I made us think about it, and they took a lot of it down.
because of you.
But it happened at the same time.
Impressive.
I'm not saying because of me. I'm saying it happened at the same time.
Are you scared that Mossad might come and want to talk to you? You've rumbled this massive
No,
conspiracy.
because I've got truth on my side. I'm speaking from my heart. It's wrong. It's wrong what they do. It's wrong.
This is on
Your
TV.
heart is you
Mossad-
hate the
Mossad
And if,
can see
if they're
YouTube.
innocent,
Mossad are gonna
they'll
come
take
and
it to
talk
court and they can prove they're innocent.
No, but
They
that's not
control
your
the
heart.
courts,
Your
don't
heart
they?
is anti-Jewish
But they
hatred.
control the court.
It says that.
No, I'm talking about common law, not
they
their
control
law,
common
not their
law.
law.
But you should
I'm
be
talking
honest.
about
But they
English
control,
common law.
honest.
but they
Be
control the
honest.
politicians, so they can change the rules. So aren't you
No,
worried?
English common law is for the people. We create the law.
So the Rothschilds don't control English common law.
They do
No,
not.
they're trying to replace it.
They're trying to replace the Rothschilds. They have
Yeah.
no power anymore, much. Do you understand that?
That's the illusion. They pretend that they don't have any
But the
money
only
now.
common thread
but
is
they're behind.
between the banks, the
Like they're behind
finance,
JP Morgan.
between
They run
Talmud.
JP Morgan.
I worked at JP Morgan. I
Yeah,
was
you
not
say
run
you
by the
should know.
Jewish. They did not indoctrinate me or anything at JP Morgan.
It's a
right?
front company for the Rothschilds, JP Morgan.
It's a front. One of
Yes.
the world's
Was
largest
JP
investment banks.
Yes.
Is a front
Was he
for the
Jewish?
Rothschilds.
Was he Jewish,
No, he
Mr.
wasn't
Morgan?
JP Morgan, no.
Hello, mate, how are you?
Wait,
It's
so you're
called a
saying
puppet.
the owner of a Jewish-backed bank?
All you got is
doesn't have-
insults.
I mean-
You can't prove I'm wrong. All you say
Well,
is
every
insults.
time we have proven you wrong, you've just denied it and said that Google's
The only
covering up.
common theme is, I'd like you to be honest, the only common theme we've had today from the Talmud, from the banks, from the Atom, is your disdain for the Jewish people.
No,
So my
I've said
genuine
it 3
question
times.
is,
I don't
why
hate anyone.
don't you like the
You're
Jewish
putting words
people?
in my mouth.
But no, everything
You're
you've
trying to
done,
put words in my mouth.
everything you've
You
done
can't
is
change
anti-Jewish.
Well,
individually.
for exposing this, you're saying I'm anti-Jewish. You're
But there's the
exposing
banking
this.
system.
So as an
the one
example,
common thread is
you've
you
got
don't
this
love
here,
the Jewish
Tosa Poth, Jeba Moth, 50.
I told you
it
about-
doesn't exist.
There's nothing.
That's a made-up book.
Oh, what is it?
You've got something
I don't
called.
believe you.
You've got
I don't
something
believe
called
you. Well, I
Tosafot.
don't believe
So
you.
listen. You've got something called Tosafot. Yeah, not Tospoth. I mean, that sounds quite rude, actually, Tospoth. Jeba Mod.
That shows your dirty mind. That shows your mentality.
So what I'm saying.
We're talking about child abuse here.
I'm saying this doesn't exist. I'm saying this doesn't exist.
It isn't about child abuse.
Well, look up sick evil Talmud YouTube and you'll see more. Because it's sick. It's sick. It's against the
But
law.
sir, I want you to be honest.
But you do realise that all Jews, all Orthodox Jews, all Orthodox Jews follow the Talmud.
I
Do you
don't
realise
don't
that?
hate anyone.
All,
Sorry, I've said it 4 times.
all Orthodox Jews follow the Talmud. You know that, yeah? And historically, all Jews followed the Talmud. Yeah. Yet you're saying you're not against Jews. Yet you're saying like you've got some made-up quotes.
And Google
they're
sick
not
evil
made up.
Talmud.
I just
They are
literally,
made up.
they are made up. You've got
Show me the references.
I just went through. I just literally went through all of this. This one here, Sanhedrin 54b. This one here, sorry. It literally talked about how bestiality is wrong. It talked about all the things you can't do. Nowhere does it mention
Don't
this.
put your hands on my face.
My hand is there. That's not your face.
No, you're doing all this shit.
I think he's getting
I don't do
uncomfortable.
that to him. I don't do that to him.
But some people do it just
No, because I've got right on my side. I know the evidence.
No,
He's
the only truth
Mate, you
here,
got your hand in
the
his
only
face
truth
there.
is you're consistently anti-Jewish.
Oh,
Consistently anti-Jewish.
Huh?
You're
Keep those hands
consistently
down.
anti-Jewish.
I'm not. I'm saying this is
Everything you're
against the
talking
law.
about is
This is against English common
pedophilia
law.
Jews, banking Jews, Rothschild Jews, media Jews.
I didn't say
Roman
that. I
Catholics,
didn't say that.
Jews or
I haven't
Jewish
even
Jews.
used the J
The only
word. I haven't
common
even
word-
used.
I'm
That's
using
you.
the J- I love the
That's
J
you.
word.
J word.
I'm telling you.
Can you move your foot here, hand here? I just want to say what this quote
I'm
is.
going to defend it.
And what are these quotes got to do with banking exactly? That's what I don't
These are like
understand. It's like,
literally
because
made
it's
up.
like the evil of banking. Oh, but the Jews, they're like.
Because usually it's in the Talmud you're allowed to charge people money to lend it. That's in the Talmud, and that's what created the Rothschild banking system.
Like 2,000 years ago, I believe it was Babylon the Talmud was written. I know this because I've got Nazi mates, no offense, and they use the same kind of nonsense.
My family died fighting the Nazis.
You ain't got fucking, you ain't got. Using 2,000-year-old mistranslated quotes to.
Gotta make it off, mate.
Oh right,
Not
yeah, they've been out there
2,000
for
years.
2,000 years,
YouTube
and they've had a banking
inside.
system for 200 years,
I think you should
funding
sit with a
everything.
rabbi. Go find a rabbi. Sit
Well,
down
you
with
just
them.
chase the money.
Can I
Friendly
ask a serious
rabbi.
question?
Sit down
Can I
with a
ask a serious
rabbi.
question?
and
We'll
talk-
find
What's
a
the
rabbi.
connection between the
a nice
Rothschilds
rabbi.
and the
Sit down
Talmud?
with him and go
Because usury is in the Talmud,
But no,
and that's what created the mentality that runs the world right now.
what's the connection between Rothschilds and the Talmud and usury? I don't understand. I don't quite. No, let me. I don't quite. I'm not quite clear on why. Why are you saying the Rothschilds follow the Talmud?
Well, I mean, they come from that religion.
You mean they're Jews?
Yes.
Right.
But I thought you weren't
Wasn't the
against
Talmud
Jews.
written like 2,000 years ago in Babylon?
Everything you have is anti-Jewish on you. You mentioned 6 different
Because
things.
if
and
this is
they're all
true, then that's
anti-Jewish.
wrong,
not
and I
true.
wanted to
6
know.
things, and they're all
Well, I don't
anti-Jewish.
take your word for it.
My friend, I'm pretty sure the
I've
Talmud.
I
asked
think
them
you
to
should have the
reference it,
courage.
and he won't
You
reference
should have
it.
the
Talmud
courage of
was
your
written
conviction
back
and
in
say, I
Babylon.
don't
That
like
was a
Jewish
very
people.
long
And
time
they still
ago.
study it today. They study it today.
Come out and say it.
They study it today.
Just so you know, you can get it in English and Hebrew.
Read it.
It's like it's really long. Oh, sorry, just one. But it's really long. But you can go through the whole thing,
And you can check it yourself.
and we
Not
can
true.
Check the
Not
Talmud.
true.
Don't check a YouTube site. Just read the Talmud.
It's not. You need to do some more.
Joseph, I could introduce you to nice rabbi friends who would sit you down
I know, yeah,
calmly with
I've
a cup
heard
of
this.
tea, and they were talking through these verses.
What does it say?
It says,
Hello.
We've checked.
But I want to understand the source of the hatred.
I'm just
Okay,
upholding
first
the
of all-
law. I'm just upholding the
First
law.
of all, the number here,
I'm
which
upholding
says,
the
No,
law.
that's not
hold
it,
on,
I'm
hold on.
afraid. That's not it.
Yeah.
So,
It says, the rabbi said,
Something you're not telling us.
elder that comes onto a small girl, that is not anything, and less than this is like a finger. It's like giving a finger.
Yeah,
So
that,
you
that's
cherry pick that. For example, 3 years isn't mentioned.
no, but
Here we go again. Wait,
There's another quote.
You don't know Hebrew, do you?
why? I think this is a great place
that was
to
obvious.
come clean.
well, what bits do you know? You know that Goyim means cattle.
Shalom.
What does
Goyim?
What means cattle? Yeah.
But
Shalom
that
and
means
Goyim.
I know that's what he said.
Shalom and Goyim, that's what you know. Shalom and
Goyim means nations.
Well, I don't take your word for that.
Okay, who
No,
speaks?
it's not.
Translate.
Goy means nation.
How do you know?
Because it's
Because it's in
Hebrew.
the Bible. It's like,
Well, I've heard.
Kol HaGoyim, all the nations come to worship the Lord.
I've heard 50 researchers say that Goyim means.
I have a
cattle.
different question. Do you think the Jewish
And
people?
that's-
Do you think Jewish people
Just
are
go on a
working-
Hebrew dictionary, literally.
Yeah.
Get a Hebrew dictionary. Anyone here can do it. And look at what the word goes. It's going to translate it as Gentile or
Google
nation.
Translate.
Yes. But I have a different question. Do you think the Jewish people are working against white rights?
Well, I've not met every Jewish person in the
No,
world.
but
so I can't say
do you think
something
these
that's-
Jewish
These
people are
Jewish
working
people.
against white rights?
What do you think that plan
Well,
is?
they funded it. They funded the Second World War. That's white genocide. They funded the. They created the
Second
after
World War
slave
was
trade.
Because the Jews did so good in World War II.
Oh, well, you believe the Holocaust?
I do believe the Holocaust. I lost family in it.
I've got it for you. Look, Goy,
Gentile,
nation.
nation.
No cattle mentioned.
It's like good.
No cattle mentioned.
So
Nation.
you say white
Yeah,
genocide.
It's like good.
Yeah, Goy.
Gimel
It says
Vodya.
Goy in Hebrew. I know you can't read it, but right there it
Gimel-
says Goy. I wrote it in. Goy.
It's the same.
Gimel Vav
I
Yod.
don't believe you. It doesn't say
No,
Goy.
you said white genocide, my friend.
I make it up.
But the truth is, he believes the Jews are working
My friend,
against white people.
my friend, you said white genocide. Explain this to
Warm
me.
up for tomorrow for Tuesday.
Explain to me how white genocide
The
works.
Rothschilds funded both sides of the First World War and the Second World War.
I'm in on the Rothschild conspiracy. That's what it
They killed
is.
tens of millions of
paying
Europeans.
Do you know what the highest net worth
also
of the
ran the
Rothschild family is?
African
Do
slave
you know how much money they've ever
So
had?
that wait, white genocide was killing tens of millions of Europeans 80 and 100 years ago.
No, the Second World War was 70
The
years.
Holocaust didn't happen. Just
And I'm saying white genocide
Can I
was World War I and
take
World
it,
War
2
II.
minutes, take it, 2 minutes. Did the Holocaust happen?
I wasn't there, but Auschwitz says, well, the figure isn't 6 million.
What is the figure?
Well, Auschwitz said they lied about 3 million.
So what is the figure?
I don't know the exact figure, but it's not 6 million. And Auschwitz said they lied about 3 million, so it goes down to 3 million.
Is Hitler
So
just a
there's
misunderstood
Auschwitz-
guy?
what-
Auschwitz, they funded Hitler.
The Rothschilds funded Hitler.
Rothschild
Why did he
Churchill.
lose?
This is a different
Because they
level.
wanted to destroy Germany.
If they funding
They
someone,
funded Churchill and they funded Hitler.
wouldn't it
and
make
they
more
wanted-
sense to fund the Russians because they were the ones who won the war?
Well, the Rothschilds created communist Russia. They
Bloody hell, these Rothschilds are good. Hitler, Churchill,
Why
and
did Stalin
Stalin.
expel the Jews? He expelled all the
did he?
Jewish doctors. It's
Well,
so
I don't believe that. It was run by 90% of the first.
So Jews invented communism in Russia so the Jews can get expelled from Russia.
And Nazism in Germany.
And Nazism, so they go get killed in Nazi Germany.
Wait, why would they invent communism when you said
Because
that they
it kills
invented
people.
capitalism?
Yeah, because they want to fight communism against capitalism.
So they invent
Jews-
communism
They
and
both sides.
capitalism so they,
again. He thinks
so they can
out
get
to
expelled
Whitey.
from communist countries so they can
No,
fight.
well, I don't believe they were expelled. I've never heard that before.
You don't believe that Jews were expelled in
Well, who ripped off?
communist
It
Russia?
was these people who still run
Rothschilds.
Russia, so they weren't kicked out.
So the Rothschild ran Russia.
Yeah,
Is that why it's such a
What's your
shithole?
proof of that? Just out of
well,
curiosity.
they run the central bank of Russia.
But you don't know what a central bank is.
No, I do.
But you don't.
No, you
You've
don't.
been brainwashed to not. You've been brainwashed by the bankers not to.
Oh, okay.
so
Because
what-
I worked at banking, I'm brainwashed
So-
by
so-
the
Well, you're a
system I
liar.
work
You're a
So
liar.
a guy who works
Why
at
would
a
I
bank
lie?
has been
I'm not
brainwashed.
Just
into
so-
think
I'm not
that-
Jewish.
Because you work in a false system. It's all based on forgery. It's fraud.
Forgery?
Yeah, it's
But
fraud.
you have the truth.
Yeah.
It doesn't, mate. No.
Yeah.
I think the truth is you
Or at least I'm saying if this is true, then they're
I
breaking
think
the law.
truth is the truth
Why
is
be
you
scared if you're innocent? Take it to court and you can prove it.
If I'm innocent, I am Rothschild.
Well, you're sticking up for these people. If you're people, if you think that
You might be careful, because if I am a Rothschild, I'm closing down your bank account.
it's more to life than money. It's more to life than money.
So
But at least I've got my conscience is clear.
If your conscience is clean, why don't you come out and say you think the Jewish people are against white people? Why don't you come out
As you play the national lottery, you're singing money, money, money.
So why don't you come out and say you think the Jewish people are working against white interests? Is that what you believe?
They're working against everyone's interests.
But you believe they're working against white people's interests?
Everyone's.
No,
That's
but that's not my
everyone.
question. White people's interests.
Well, they killed millions of British people in the World War I and World War II. When you find out that the Rothschilds and they ran the African slave trade. They ran the African slave trade.
that's not genocide, though, is it?
Well, yes, it is.
Is there any bad thing that the Jews
They
didn't
created a
do?
situation where you were forced to go, and if you didn't go over the top, you were shot.
Have you heard the one
That's
about...
genocide.
Genocide it is.
9/11. Well, that's just different definitions of genocide. There's more.
I will. Genocide is where like what the attempt of what Hitler tried to do to the Jews. That was attempted genocide. He failed.
I mean...
Or the slot. Yeah. Sorry.
the Jewish people, we have done some bad stuff. We gave you Katie Price. We gave you Craig David.
Whoa, Katie Price is a Jew! Yeah. Whoa, this is something new to me. This is definitely.
But what we didn't do, we're not responsible for World War I. We're not responsible for World War II.
These people, they funded both sides.
But you keep talking about Jews in the
I didn't
Talmud.
say, I've never said the
He's
J
using
word.
Rothschild as a proxy for Jews. No, but you're using Rothschild as a proxy for Jews.
You're trying to paint me up as being something I'm not.
clever for it.
So
I don't think you're trying to pin you. I think you're revealing yourself to us. But my question is, look,
So the
I have hardcore fascist friends, and they are not scared to say they believe in the JQ that the Jewish people are working against white rights. I can talk to them. I think you're scared to come forward and say, I believe the Jewish people are working against white ethnic interests. I think you should have the
I don't
courage of your
believe we're
conviction.
all equal anyway,
You should show-
even these
but
people.
you should
we're
show
all
some
equal.
white
I don't
pride.
know.
I would
I
show
don't have
white
any
pride.
pride.
Oh, you
No.
don't have white
Well, I'm not
pride.
even white, I'm
Okay.
pink.
You're pink.
I mean,
What
that's
about
a
white
misnomer.
genocide?
Right.
It's a misnomer. I don't believe in white pride anyway.
So is it... Is it just... Is it just the Rothschilds, or are there other Jews involved?
How do you know it's bullshit?
Because it's literally moron from Machiavelli's. There we are.
Look at the waves!
I think a thing that will help you a lot is to find a Jewish friend.
I'll be your friend.
He's a redhead. You
And
guys
a Jewish person who will help you through this process.
How can you come from the Middle East when you've got fair skin? And
So I'll tell you my haplotype. We just had this conversation. My haplotype, in terms of genetics, is
You don't look like a
E1B1B.
Palestinian.
Listen, mate. You're going to learn something. I'm E1B1B, which is actually, it's not even Israel. It's the Horn of Africa. I have more in common with an Ethiopian Jew than many other Jews. My haplotype is E1B1B. It's not European. I've had my genetics tested.
So why are these are the Ashkenazi Jews?
So I'm an Ashkenazi Jew as well.
You don't look like a Palestinian. You're not from the Middle East.
I never said I was a Palestinian. Palestinians come from
There
Arabia.
are,
There's no
my
such thing as
friend, there are
Palestine,
Palestinians
anyway.
with blonde hair and blue eyes. There's that girl.
Really? No, yeah, well, I
went
don't
to
trust
Greece.
her.
I had
Yeah,
some
well,
in
I
it.
don't- yeah.
It's that process.
So I'm gonna show you some
She
sea
could
mites.
be a
It's gonna
plant.
show.
She could be a plant like all the other ones.
Okay, I guess they're all plants and Jews.
So this guy.
Well, how is it she doesn't look anything like a Palestinian?
Somehow I doubt you've met many Palestinians.
Well, they're stuck in a concentration camp because of these people. So they're not allowed out. Yeah.
Like the 5 other peace deals they've been given.
Concentration camp, good lord, that's going to
Okay, yeah,
Come
we'll
on,
just ignore that.
mate. Do you know that's all rigged? They're genociding them. These people are genociding them. That's genocide too.
24% of the population of Israel is Palestinian Arab. So what kind of genocide is that?
That's
That's
their
terrible.
country. It's
If that's a
Palestine.
genocide,
It's
they're
their
really bad at
country. It's called
genocide, aren't they?
Palestine.
See
Yeah,
this
it's
guy
got
here.
ethnic
See this guy here. He descends from Muhammad. He's a Semite. What colour's his beard?
Is he
I've never
Hashemite?
seen him before.
I know
Just
you
'cause
haven't
say-
seen
just
him
'cause you
before.
say that,
Okay, so
I don't
everyone
believe
can,
you.
he's called Mohammed Al Yaqubi. He's for the camera. Mohammed Al Yaqubi. He's a Syrian sheikh from Syria. His family have lived there for a long time. I think Morocco as well. But they claim to descend from Muhammad, who's from Arabia, who descends from Abraham, who again is the father of the Jewish people. Yet he has a ginger beard. King David is described of having a ginger beard. Yeah, yeah, in the Jewish tradition. And my genetics. You're right. I actually have Irish blood. I have lots of non-Jewish ancestors, but my haplotype, my actual hardcore DNA, goes back to the Middle East. and goes back to the Horn of Africa. Those are the two areas. The Jewish people have intermixed with many people along the years.
So you don't actually come from Palestine?
No, I do. So it's even better than
You've
that.
got no right to
listen, Habibi,
You've got no
my friend,
right to
brother. Listen.
Your blood doesn't come from them.
Listen. It's even better than that. 3% of my DNA is non-Jewish from the area of biblical Israel. So when Ancestry or Family Tree DNA, I think it's called, when they gave me the map, it had a map which went into bits of Syria, bits of Jordan, and it called in Western Middle Eastern. And 3% of my DNA was that. It wasn't Ashkenazi Jewish, it wasn't Sephardi Jewish, it was non-Jewish, biblical Israel. So maybe Canaanite, maybe Philistine. So despite looking the way I look, despite having Irish blood in me, I can really hold my alcohol.
That's racist.
I'm Irish. I'm being racist against myself.
Well, I've only got your word for that. I don't believe it.
But do you think a white person can be Jewish? Do you think a white person can be Jewish? Just in simple English, a white person.
Well, people convert. Elizabeth Taylor converted.
No, but just actually ethnically Jewish. Can they be ethnically by blood Jewish?
Like Ashkenazi Jews.
So what do you mean by Jewish? I mean, 97% of the Israeli DNA doesn't come from the Middle East. It comes from somewhere else. 90% of that comes from Ashkenazi Jews from Bavaria.
60%.
In the 700s.
60% of Israelis come from. No, listen. 60%. 60% of Israelis come from the Middle East and North Africa. Literally, they're called Sephardim and Mizrahim.
Boom.
Mizrahim and Sephardim. You can go on Wikipedia and you can look at the breakdown. Around between 40 and 50% of them are Ashkenazi Jews, is what you're talking about.
No such
I'll check it out for myself. I'm not taking your word for it.
No, please, check all these things yourself. Don't take my word for it. I'm not taking your word for it. I'll do my research, you do your research. Look up what... So Jews are divided into Ashkenazim and loosely categorized Sephardim or Mizrahim. And so you have Jews from Yemen, Jews from Iraq, Jews from Syria, Jews from Morocco, Jews from Algeria. These groups make up the largest population in Israel, not Jews from Poland. Not that it matters, because all of them go back to Israel. And do you want to know the best thing? Do you want to know the best thing about it? A Polish Jew has the same genetic markers as an Iraqi Jew. We have a tribe called the Levium, the Levies, yeah? The Levites in the Old Testament, yeah? Within them there's a subset called the priests, the Kohanim, yeah? They have the same genetic markers, whether they lived in Iraq, whether they lived in Syria, whether they lived in Russia, whether they lived in Poland, they share the same DNA. And you can Google all this. It's called chromosomal iron or something like that. It's literally all available on the internet. It's one of the most heavily researched areas. And unfortunately, you clearly haven't done your research because you don't know anything of what I'm talking about. You said 97%. You said 97% of Israelis are white Europeans, which is stupid. Because anyone who's ever been there will tell you that I stand out like a sore thumb there. Because I'm really white because of my Irish ancestry as well. And so I stand out.
Orthodox Jews are fair-skinned, aren't they?
No, Orthodox is a term of... I pray with an Orthodox Yemenite community in northwest London, yeah? They're all brown-skinned, and they're Orthodox. Orthodox is a denomination.
Never seen brown-skinned Orthodox.
That's because you've never seen Dickie Blue.
What do you think Orthodox even means?
What does Orthodox mean?
What does Orthodox mean?
Well, traditional.
So you're saying all the Jews from the Arab world aren't traditional?
No, they're Ashkenazi. It depends what you mean by Orthodox. I mean,
you said it. You said it. I'm asking what you mean.
What does Orthodox mean?
I just said traditional Jews.
And so I'm asking, can a Jew from the Middle East be traditional?
What, in their preaching or as an Orthodox Jew or what?
Yeah, can a Jew from the Middle East be an Orthodox Jew?
Yeah, anyone can convert to Orthodox
Not convert. You don't convert to Orthodox Judaism. You either practice it or you don't as a Jew, unless you're a non-Jew, and then you can convert to Orthodox Judaism. One of the largest political parties in Israel is called Shas. Yeah, they are a party for Sephardim, for brown-skinned Jews from the Middle East. Yeah, they're all Orthodox.
Africa. The Jews, Palestine is in Africa. It's not in fucking Middle East. The Middle East is in
You tell him, James Brown.
The Middle East is in the south of India.
The south of India.
Less alcohol, more geography.
Palestine is
Less
in Africa.
alcohol, more mass.
Saudi Arabia,
Saudi Arabia's in Africa as well.
Between
So
Africa.
Rothschilds control the world.
Northeast Africa. Northeast Africa. All the countries of the Arab countries are in North Africa. All the Arab countries, they're not in the Middle East.
Okay, thank you. Back to the
I
Rothschilds.
strongly recommend you look at a world map.
No, you need to look at a fucking map.
I've never used the adjective fornication.
Well, it's in the dictionary. It's in the dictionary.
Is he
I
right?
put in a law document to a judge and he
I've not
smiled.
heard that theory before.
As if it's some bad word or another.
I think he's a Mossad plant.
Yeah.
There's
Just
a lot
come to
of Tommy
distract us.
Robinson's a Mossad plant.
Tommy Robinson.
Do you know Tommy
To be honest, Tommy Robinson does have the air of a
No, you
Mossad
all want to
agent.
make mistakes and get away
And
with
he's
it.
trying to start World War III on behalf
Tommy
of...
Robinson's trying to start World War
Mate,
III.
do you
So
know
who's on whose side in World
Do you know
War
Tommy
III?
I think you give Tommy Robinson too much
But
credit.
do you actually
Then
know
who
Tommy
funds him
Robinson?
then? Who's funded by these people?
No, but
Who's
you're
funded
talking
by
about, do you
them?
know Tommy? I know Tommy.
How-
Tommy Robinson.
I know enough about him. I've tried
But
to
do you know
contact
him?
him.
Do you know him?
I've-
Do you think he's working for the Israeli state?
Yeah, he says he is.
Okay, so you think he's working for the
He says he. Well, he says he
He
is.
really isn't.
Yeah, he is. He is.
No,
He works for Rebel Media. That's a sort of
Rebel Media. Rebel Media is
a pro-Zionist.
Is that why Faith Golding went to Charlottesville to say Jews will not replace us?
Pretty topical.
That doesn't sound like a very effective Jewish plant.
Faith Golding?
Faith Golding, yeah. She's like from Rebel Media. She's got a big mouth. She was at Charlottesville. She was part of the Jews will not replace us crowd. Do you not remember? That's why she got kicked.
Well, that's the first I've heard it. I know it's Charlottesville. That's when someone drove a car down the street and...
Yeah. Back to Tommy Robinson. How do you know that he's working for the Rothschilds?
Because he works for Rebel Media, who are funded by Robert Shillman, who is
Hold on a
funded
minute.
by...
Gavin McGuinness
Is
works
it-
in Rebel Media,
Yeah,
and he's
he's
a
another
Holocaust denier. He openly says that there was no gassings.
I've
He
never
said
heard
that
him
some
say
Jews were
that.
killed.
Yeah, but
but
they put up these plants as controlled opposition.
why
So
would you
Gavin
create a
McGuinness
plant?
is also...
Because
so he
they
just-
want to
is
con
he
people.
also-
Well,
They want
Gavin
people to-
McGuinness isn't an anti-Semite, but the dude straight up said that there were no Jews
But
gassed.
also, you're saying he's a
I didn't say that.
Rothschild's plant?
Huh?
Is Gavin McGuinness also a Rothschild's plant?
Yeah.
Bloody hell. Who haven't they got to?
It's
Karl
Richard
Marx?
Spencer.
Yeah.
Rothschild's plant.
So,
Margaret
they
Thatcher?
funded Karl Marx.
Margaret Thatcher?
Yeah.
Jeremy Corbyn?
Yeah.
Louis
Jeremy
Farrakhan.
Corbyn?
Yeah.
Bloody hell. They've got the Jeremy.
Louis Farrakhan.
I'm not sure, but I mean, they killed Malcolm X, who was a genuine. Yeah, and then replaced him with Martin Luther King, who was funded by these.
I don't think they were.
Actually, with a name like King, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So who else? Jay-Z.
Malcolm.
Is Jay-Z working?
well, yeah.
Jay-Z as well.
Xi Jinping.
Bloody
Xi
hell.
Jinping.
Who haven't they got?
Who's that?
Beyonce. No, don't tell me they got Beyonce.
Well, she's a mind control slave. You know,
Kendrick Lamar. Kendrick Lamar.
I don't know who that is.
Dave Chappelle.
Well, he was meant to be genuine. Now he's
Is he a
changed.
clone?
Well, I heard someone say that earlier. Yeah.
Right.
Is there anybody we can trust anymore?
No, especially you ginger cunt.
I'll see you next Tuesday. I said I'll see you next Tuesday. Do you get it? You gotta get it, little. Yeah. All right, geese. All right, geese. Oh yeah. Oi, oi. Yeah, mate.
At least mugs are useful. But okay.
Tell that man that. He says I look like someone from Algeria. kind of.
Is that an Egyptian flag?
A Jewish Algerian. And did he look like me? A little bit. Thank you. We hope the Jews can go back to Algeria one day. It's a great country. They kicked us out, unfortunately. This has been fascinating. I've learned so much. Who can I trust other than you?
Johnny Rotten, Sid Vicious, Steve Jones, Paul Cook.
Oh, man,
Johnny
okay.
Rotten.
Two of those guys are from Sex Pistols.
Yeah.
Okay.
They told the truth and they got shut down. Same as everyone else. Public Enemy told the truth and got shut down.
Did Ice Cube, did he try to tell the truth?
Eazy-E was telling the truth and then they got shut down and it turned it into gangster rap, which was all about hoes and selling drugs and shooting each other.
So before that, Eazy-E wasn't about all those things. NWA were like, what, subconscious
But
rap?
they were. They were talking about what was going on in Los Angeles. He's an actor.
Okay, but I mean,
When he
didn't he
became
get?
an actor, he was meant to be.
I mean, he got in trouble for saying because I let a Jew break up my crew. I mean, that's not a very good plan, is it?
Well, I've never heard him say that. But,
Oh, Mel Gibson.
well, I don't know. He could be a plant. You just don't know.
Yeah,
He works in Hollywood, which is run by these people.
Oh dear.
The Rothschilds or the Jews.
Wait, can I ask a question?
How do you know when it's the Rothschilds or just the Jew, as an example?
Well, I don't. I've not met them all. I'm just saying these
So
people
how
are the
do
ones
you-
who fund this propaganda machine called Hollywood and the mainstream media
how do you
and the
know that?
political system.
But how
Because
do
you
you
chase the money. You find out who.
Okay, so I'm
created
asking,
them.
how have you chased the money? So let's take Warner Brothers, yeah?
Yeah.
How do you know that the Warner Brothers are funded by Rothschild?
Well, that's not their name. That's not their real name.
Okay, but it's fine. How do you know they're funded by Rothschild?
Because the Rothschilds created Hollywood in the 1910s to brainwash America.
I know you keep saying that, but what's the evidence?
Just look it up.
No, but I'm asking you. You're the one saying it. You're coming here with a political.
Well, okay, the Protocols of Zion said we will take over the media, we will take over the entertainment, we will control what people learn in school.
And so was the Protocols of the Elders of Zion. That's your proof.
That's one bit of proof.
But the Protocols of the Elders of Zion doesn't mention anything about Warner Studios, yeah?
It's talking about the media, it's talking about entertainment, about publishing.
And is it? Am I right? Am I mistaken, or is the academic consensus that the Protocols of the Elders of the Zion was a Tsarist forgery?
The Rothschilds own academia.
Oh, so the Rothschilds own academia. So we can't trust academia.
No.
We can't trust the
Well,
media.
who did 9/11?
We can't trust the government.
Who did 9/11?
So Osama bin Laden says he did 9/11.
No, he didn't say he did that.
He didn't release a speech where he said he did it for these reasons, and he talked about Israel and Palestine. So when I listened to that recording, I imagined it.
But he was a CIA plant anyway. He was well known.
So
as a
Osama
CIA
bin Laden
plant.
was working for the Rothschilds. Okay,
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, who brought down Building 7? Who brought down Building 7?
The Rothschilds.
Yeah. Well, you just said it yourself.
I
so
know, I
you
know.
just defeated your own thesis.
Joseph, I'm going to shoot off it.
I'll see you on Tuesday.
Too much credit. You know, even if they fund Hollywood at the start, at some point the people that start working there, you know, it's not like they get the memo like, oh, by the way, all this money came from Rothschild. You have to like promote this or Y or Z. Like,
It doesn't work that way.
Why do
If
you
you're
think
on
it's
the
all the Jews? Why do you think? Because I ain't saying it's all the Jews, you know. I ain't got nothing against Jews, Muslim, nothing. I've got something against cunts. If you're a cunt, I don't like you, right? You might not turn out to be a cunt, but I'm just saying, yeah? What it is, it's the elite families. Royal family. Are the royal family Jewish?
Yeah, no, Rothschilds.
Oh, I didn't know that. I just thought they're horrible cunts, Christians, Catholics, whatever.
They're actually German.
Oh, they're
They're not
They were
German.
in
yes,
Germany
whatever, you know
for
what I mean?
100 years. They were in Romania before that. They go
Yeah,
back to
of
Bavaria.
course they do.
And they're a sick paedophilic cult.
Yes, they are.
and then are they not lizards as well? And then the Rothschilds
Oh.
bought them or something.
Is there anything to the lizard theory?
Yeah, is there?
Yeah, reptilian cunts and all that.
Well, I mean, that could be a metaphor.
Google
Like,
David
you know,
Icke.
they're
David Icke.com.
cold-blooded. You know, people who do this to children, that's cold-blooded.
But we've just shown you that that's not real.
Well, no, you didn't. No, you've given your argument.
Okay.
You know, and you couldn't prove it on your phone.
I did. I showed you.
You didn't show me anything.
So here we go.
That could be a metaphor for cold-blooded, alien type of consciousness.
It could be.
It's shorthand for saying someone
If we
who's...
start going on, it could be, and it would be, and it should be. You know.
Well, every ancient culture in the world believes in reptilian aliens who do evil things.
Yeah.
Well, it's in the collective unconscious of humanity that we have this way of describing cold-blooded people by seeing them as reptiles. That's a theory.
Yeah, it's just a theory. It sounds like
There's a lot of
ancient
evidence to
aliens.
it.
Sounds like ancient aliens. Worst show ever. Great to see while you're stoned, but shit for facts and just built everything on. If the Bible doesn't say that they're lizards, then they are lizards, and then they're this, and then they're that, and we end up in the world of madness.
We're
Like,
in
yeah,
a
they're
world, we're in a
real.
world of madness. They're trying to stop World War III. They've pretended that they hit a tanker in. They said Iran hit a tanker in the last couple of days, and they're trying to start a war with Iran based on a false flag.
Who's they? Rothschild.
Yeah. Because they want World War III. They want
You're both knowledgeable guys. What's the origin of the Illuminati? Who were the Illuminati when they first convened back in the past?
1870s in
Jacob
Germany.
Frank and all those people took over. Sabbatai Zevi and all these people.
So who was Shabtai
They took
Tzvi?
over.
Who was he?
He
Shabtai
was the
Tzvi.
head of the Frankists. Well, leave the Frankies. There's so much. Well, I am on the right
No,
track.
Shabtai Tzvi was a messianic figure from Turkey who believed he was the Messiah, and he then was forced to convert to Islam by the Sultan, and so all his followers then became Muslim. And they still have synagogue, mosque things in Turkey to this day. Yeah. He knows. See, everything I say, Emet, Hak,
I'll
truth.
check that out. I don't know. That doesn't mean the truth just because you said it. I'll have to check that out.
Just trust me.
But at least it sounds a little bit more facts than all cultures seem to have this collective imagination.
Do you know?
Everybody
Well,
came
yeah,
up
do you know what
with
I think? There is a collective unconscious in humanity. Before we had language,
But
we saw things
we
as symbols.
focus on consciousness?
But you're the one who said about
Can
lizards,
I
and I'm
just-
saying lizards as a shorthand for people who are cold-blooded. That's the theory.
Can I say my theory? My theory is you're really insecure, and see the Jewish people, particularly these elite families, is incredibly powerful. And you view Jews with such admiration that you think somehow they could manipulate and control the entire world. They literally... No, they don't. That's fake quotes. In your
But you can't
worldview,
prove it. You can
literally...
say it for an hour and you won't prove it.
We'll go through it together. We'll go through the entire DAF, which is huge. Yep.
Sounds like a good thing. Maybe we can both check so we
Sanhedrin.
make sure that there's no bias.
I follow you 100%.
Or researching.
I know that a lot of the late families are Jewish, but I just see it as elite.
Look, here we go.
Like the Saudi Arabians and Muslims out there, they're
Sanhedrin.
They're a
in
puppet
it.
state.
They're in it.
They don't
Exactly.
fight by
Of
them.
course,
They're
that's why
fighting by the
Prince Charles
Rothschilds.
goes over there and he don't give a fuck. I know this. Yeah, I know.
They're only 170 years old, the Saudi royal family. You know, they were created by the Rothschilds as a bogeyman.
Oh, right. See, I don't say it.
Like the way Bin
That's what I
Laden-
always thought. I thought, why the fuck they ain't involved like that? You know, just trying to connect bits like these.
So do you actually want to go through this? It doesn't make my religion look the best because it's talking about the punishment for homosexuality and for bestiality, but we can go through it if you're genuinely interested. We have learnt the punishment for homosexual intercourse, but from where is the prohibition derived? The verse states, so it's now going to the Torah, the Old Testament, and you shall not lie with a male as a woman, it's an abomination, yeah? It then goes, we have learned from the prohibition for the one who engages in homosexual intercourse actively. From where do we derive the prohibition for one who engages in homosexual intercourse passively? The verse says, there shall not be a sodomite among the children of Israel, Deuteronomy. And another verse cited to clarify the meaning of the term Kadesh states, and there were also sodomites in the land, they did, so people from Sodom, they did according to all the abomination of the nations which the Lord drove out before the children of Israel. This is the statement of Rabbi Yishmael. Rabbi Akiva, it's not necessary to derive the halakha, the law from this verse. There shall not be a sodomite. Rather, it says, and you shall not lie with a male as with a woman. Read into the verse, you shall not enable your being laid with by a male. The Gemara, from where do we derive? It literally, sorry, I've just lost it, but where do we do it so that you can't lie with an animal? And it then goes why you can't perform bestiality, acts of humans lying with animals. You can go through this yourself. It's readily available. Each one of these sources, I encourage you to go to the Hebrew or the Aramaic text where they have an English translation. Read it for yourself because you're coming here with these signs and anybody can fact check them. We've held them up to the camera. People will be able to go away and do the research. And where there is grains of truth, because there has been grains of truth to some of the things that you're saying, I'm not denying it. What happens is it takes taken out of context. So the one as an example where you talked about, can a male have relations with a 3-year-old? Absolutely not. The Jewish law is you cannot have relations with a 3-year-old. What it's saying is a 3-year-old is raped, you don't treat it as if she's had relations. She's considered as if she hasn't had relations because she was raped as a baby. And so where there is truth, your verses have been twisted, and many of them don't even exist. You've got like Tospot Jebamoth 84b. That's not a legitimate source. Like, it doesn't exist. I think it's trying to get Tosafot, not Tospot. And so all I'm saying is, you've had people who have an anti-Jewish agenda have put these quotes together on the Jewish Talmud. They're either fabricated or taken out of context. And you come here with a sign. I'm saying before you come with this sign, you're a guy that likes to seek truth. Most of the guys I speak to like you, they want to find the truth. And so whenever you're looking for the truth, you go to the primary source. You don't go to a secondary source. You don't go by hearsay, what someone else says. You go to the original document and read it for yourself. And you're capable of doing that. You don't need to speak Hebrew, you don't need to speak Aramaic. All you need to do is go to a Jewish source, because they're the ones who can translate it, because they're the ones that speak Aramaic and Hebrew, and you read what it says. And where there's confusion, maybe go to the rabbinic interpretation to see what that verse actually means, because the language of the Talmud can be very complex. context because it was written 2,000 years ago. Or some of it was written 2,000 years ago, some of it 1,500 years ago. But the language isn't like we'd have a conversation today. Even what the Talmud is, most people don't understand. And so all I'm encouraging you to do is look for the primary source, because I believe a lot of what you've come with, you've gone to certain websites which have, I would consider, an anti-Jewish agenda, and you've taken what they've said as true without going to the primary sources. So when you say that the Rothschilds control the Hollywood, or when you say that the Rothschilds control the media, control the banks, or when you say the central banks are controlled by the Rothschild family in the UK, it's very easy to go to the primary sources and say that actually the central bank of the UK, the Bank of England, was actually nationalised. It's run by the state. It was privatised for a while. And the Federal Reserve
control the media and what we learn in school.
But they don't control the media. The Rothschilds don't control the media. As an example, Al Jazeera, yeah, is the state station of Qatar, yeah? It's run by the state. Russia Today is run by Russians, yeah? Press TV is run by Iran.
Russia is run by the Rothschilds.
The BBC is run by the British government, yeah? There's no Rothschild conspiracy.
Yes, there is behind all of those, yes.
But you've got no proof whatsoever. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying find the primary truth. If you can find the smoking gun, come here and show us it all, and we'll all be really concerned. But what you don't have that. You have a conspiracy theory, which you have no evidence for. You have zero evidence.
I do have the evidence.
The BBC, okay, give me your evidence that the BBC is run by the Rothschilds.
The BBC was set up by the Rothschilds to...
When?
In the 1920s.
In the 1920s, the BBC was set up by the Rothschild. Yep. So let's keep talking.
Well, it's set up by the British establishment, who are run by the Rothschilds, who own all the banks. And so they set up a propaganda machine called the BBC to make people think that the world is this way, when really it's a paedophile ring that runs the whole fucking world at the moment. Same with Hollywood. They're telling you this happened, 100 Holocaust movies they make never tell you about what's happening in Palestine, and it's just a lying machine. It's a lying machine to make us not think that it's paedophiles who run America, and it's not. And
so,
you know, it's a propaganda machine.
So the BBC,
a Rothschild paedophile propaganda machine.
This is what you say. This is what Wikipedia says how the BBC was formed. Britain's first public
yeah, but they are owned by the same people.
The Wikipedia.
Google, yes, Google.
Wikipedia is owned by Jimmy.
Wikipedia YouTube is owned by Google. It's a foundation.
Yeah. YouTube is owned by Google.
Anyone can write
information from YouTube.
Anyone
yeah, but they don't control everything that's on YouTube at the moment. But they're taking it down. They're taking it down. This week they've taken down loads of people that are taking YouTube down.
But yeah, but there is a verification
process. Do you believe there is a paedophile ring running the globe at the moment?
Do I believe there's a... Personally, I don't believe there's a paedophile running the globe.
Do you know Jeffrey Epstein is?
Yeah, he was a paedophile.
Yeah,
he was convicted. But think about that. You're saying the Rothschilds control the world, yet this prominent paedophile was arrested and jailed.
But a lot of people
Victor Rothschild created Mossad.
How did Epstein work for the Rothschilds?
Because he works for Mossad.
How does he work for Mossad?
Stop.
Listen, yeah? You believe that Mossad is the most elite controlling...
No, I don't at all. No, they're paedophiles.
Yeah, you can work... You believe they control the world, yet somehow you, random guy at Speaker's Corner, were able to expose that Epstein worked for the Mossad. So where's your evidence that Epstein worked for Mossad?
Well, an investigator called Opperman, it's a well-known fact that he was working for
It's
Mossad.
a well-known fact. Okay, so what's the evidence that it's a well-known fact?
Okay, Ghislaine Maxwell, his partner in crime, is a Mossad agent.
Okay, how is Maxwell?
Her mother, her father, Robert Maxwell, was a well-known Mossad agent.
How is he a Mossad agent?
Because he was working for Mossad.
So what's the evidence that he was? That's what all I'm asking is your evidence.
Finding evidence that somebody works for Mossad is hard.
Well, they hide it, obviously. I mean, you're not going to see paychecks going into his account.
Look, just because somebody works for the Mossad and is a pedophile,
Maxwell didn't
part of this Illuminati that rule the world. How did he get arrested?
Because
that's it. So like throw people to the wolves now and again. You've got to give someone.
Sometimes it's so bad that they need to...
Like the other lot.
Also,
they want touching girls' Me Too movement. The one in Hollywood.
It's the Me Too movement.
No, the one in Hollywood. Weinstein. Yeah, there you go. Now and again, they got to give someone up.
So Israel did 9/11.
They're psychopaths. They don't care about no one
and
but
also
themselves.
they want us to know what's going on, but there's nothing you can do about it. They want us to know, and they want us to feel powerless. Yeah. Like Jimmy Savile on television doing what he did to people. It's like, you know what I'm doing, and you can't do anything about it. Israel Mossad did 9/11.
So if they're not arrested, it's a conspiracy. If they are arrested, it's a conspiracy.
What does this even mean? Israel did 9/11?
It's all one big agenda, mate.
Well, the person who wrote that shows how they planned it for years and they executed it, and now they're covering it up.
Give us cure for cancer.
So they are going to
want to make paedophilia
make
legal.
create a
All these little
bomb in
things.
their
You don't believe me?
best
Don't. When I see
allies
how
that literally protect them from all.
That's the propaganda. That's the propaganda.
Arguing division. What's it going to do?
Israel is under attack by all its neighbours.
You're going to have a castrate
The disease is, but that's the myth that they give, you know? And that's why they say America has to support Israel and every time.
This guy, I believe it's the biggest one family, one Rothschild. They're highly involved in it.
But they want the Israelis, because it's a cult, there's a cult,
there's the royal
Judaism
family,
is
all the
cult.
different elite families.
And they want to scare,
Bilderberg,
and they all come from that, they all come from that original cult.
There's a lot of religions before Israel.
That's the main one. They want the Israelis to live in a siege mentality that you can't step out, you can't. And a lot of Israelis are scared of Israelis.
I just know what I've seen with my eyes.
And there's a lot of drug use amongst young Israelis. A lot of them OD. A lot of them are heroin addicts.
You can't OD from.
Yeah, I'm saying but a lot of them are young. A lot of young Israelis are actually ODing. It's a higher number of them doing that than there's others, because they live in a culture of fear by their cult leaders.
There's almost no people living on the streets as there is here in London. There's no people like on heroin as there is here in London. I can tell you that.
Well, the New York Orthodox communities, there's a lot of drug users, and a lot of them do go to Israel for religious schools.
But they need to find, broken people need to find a reason to live. But I think that this statement, I mean, I've seen many, and I believe that the story is not well told. But from taking a story that is not well told towards saying that a nation and a whole group of people, and also the Rothschilds, are all responsible for it, just seems, or is, very well funded, and shows like it's just not well, like you're not.
If you look at that, it's an hour and 20 minutes, and you'll see for yourself how the evidence shows who's behind it, who did it, and who's covering it up, and why they did it.
You can tell.
Well, you know Building 7 came down. You know Building 7?
I'm good as a get older and get very interested.
I don't know.
Well, there you go.
I do know. I did
Well,
look
you don't
at
know Building 7, so you don't know that.
There's people, if you look at someone's
Two jets went into New York one day, and three buildings went down. And when they asked Larry Silverstein, who owned the buildings, how did that building that wasn't hit come down, he said there was superficial fires on 1 and 2 levels, and I said pull it. What he was saying is it was rigged for demolition. He was saying that building was rigged for demolition long before the attacks. And the evidence shows that Mossad went into the two Twin Towers as lift engineers between the hours of 2 and 4 in the morning for months before.
And they never closed the towers ever before that.
Sorry, but I saw exactly the same information about some other, like when it was saying that the Americans did it themselves for the oil. Like you can find exactly the same information.
Well, you can't, but no, that's because it was a grey area back there, and that's disinformation.
Exactly.
Oh,
yeah, well, yeah.
Talk about disinformation while you hold those signs out.
Well, yeah, if you want to look for yourself with an open mind, can you think critically?
Oh yes, I can.
Well, maybe.
Very good, very good. Anyway, best of luck.
Thank you.
Come take over everything from your melody. Man, say it straight. Man, don't listen to BBC. Man, don't listen to ITV. But you have nothing. Listen. Man, don't listen to BBC.
Okay, so the Senegalese people
about it. That's the fact about the young people. You have nothing. Man, don't listen to nothing. Man, don't listen to ITV.
Yeah. Again, another one walking away. Anyone else who's